Welcome to Nature Walk ND1, November Delta 1. The topics we're going to cover in this video are listed here if you want to pause and just read. Otherwise, let's continue on. N for November. Well, it was actually November into December. And the first thing that I noticed was the new moon that you see here in this picture. And it was a great moon that had a ring around it of the multicolors. And I just sort of stood there and just looked at it probably a good minute. The best photograph I could get was this one. I know that it was so beautiful, and I'm hoping you get a sense of that here. So to the east in its glory, lighting the path, casting my shadow, walking. As the snow whips, is it a as the wind blows, the same? With its shifting muse, is nature your It was something I was asking myself as I was walking the other day. The wind was blowing, picking up a bit of the snow. You could feel the crystals in your face. It wasn't snowing. It was just being whipped up by the wind as I turned the corner into the wind. And I just sort of thought, you have that kind of thought. So I thought I would put it in here for you. One of the things that I learned from one of my mentors was around the sense of being fully human, being natural, being planetary, being Solaris. He was providing this progression because he wanted to give me a sense of how he positioned himself for the world in being natural. And he said, well, there's two things prior to it, two things after it. Just being there, that be have do, but being there in the sense of your presence so that you can truly tap into what it means to be fully human in that moment, and therefore being natural with all of that which is unfolding for you, and then being planetary with the planet and being Solaris with from the whole. It was just a beautiful way for him to express it, and I got it. And we had many conversations over the years. Unfortunately, he's now being Solaris. He's out there walking around the universe, probably meeting my parents. Let's look at D and delta. Delta means to shift in Greek. And what came to mind was down fell. Because, like the chap at the top right, there's a couple of times when I almost did my oopsie whoopsies. One of the things I have to do is pay real particular attention to the ice on the path. It's a long way down from 6'7", and I just don't want to do it anymore. And the other thing that came evident was just sort of the downfells that take place when wind comes through and takes the trees down. And then also just the down that you see here, and just sort of felling into it and just appreciating what it is that I see. Just sharing a couple of pictures around a kind of fun word. This whole idea of dog walking and nature and aging. I have the pleasure of walking with Georgia, the dog, and I often do a lot of thinking and saying to myself how wonderful it is to be walking and then having a companion to walk with. And there's many benefits, and I've listed a few here for you. Now, this is a time where you can just stop and read and see what's here for you. But I like that last one, that mindful observation. And it's also watching Georgia and her being natural and being planetary and just interacting what's around her and just seeing her curiosity and what it is that she finds. And it reminds me to think about my own curiosity and what's happening for me while I'm there with Georgia, but also when I'm with others or I'm even in front of my computer and creating videos like this one. What's happening? What am I curious about? What are some of the small wonders of the natural world can I tap into? And that's why I have a stone and a dream catcher and a piece of wood very close by that I can always touch if I need a reminder. So again, stop, watch what's here. Oh, should say read what's here and see what comes to the foreground for you. Determination. I bring this up is because walking along the path, there's a couple of places where the tree shrub has started to break the asphalt. When the snow fell, then what happened was the snowplow, the mini snowplow, came through and clipped the asphalt. So I'm sure the person riding did a bit of a oopsie whoopsie in his chair, but then I was thinking about seeing the little piece of asphalt that had been clipped off, thinking about how over the summer that plant, with its determination, actually pushed through that asphalt. And I'm sort of thinking to myself, what's the asphalt that's covering me? And do I have the determination to push through it? And I think of a little bit of the story of aging that's unfolding for me, is to have the determination to move through it. I'm not going to be boxed in because of it. I'm going to walk through it. So it had me thinking about what it is of being fully human, being natural. And it just sort of fed this whole storyline that's through this video. The number one. And I was thinking about that one view. Do you have a one view that you go to and you just look out and see what's there from a landscape point of view? There's a chair, a bench that just sort of sits on the precipice of going down into the little ravine. And I sometimes walk there with Georgia and stand and just appreciate what it is that I see from that vantage point. And one of the things that I realized is one is not the loneliest number. That is a Three Dog Night song. And when I heard it at first, I went, oh, that's an interesting song. And as I've gotten along in my aging process, I might think that I'm getting lonely, and I'm not. Georgia's with me. I'm walking with nature. I'm enjoying shooting these videos with you, even though you're not here, but you are here in a sense. No, only is not a word that's coming in. So that's one word I'm taking out of my vocabulary. Code for yes. And I always remember that because of the computer code, one and zero, yes and no. And so when I see a one by itself, I go, yes. I just bringing different elements of my living life, my living my legacy life together. When it comes to N and D together, new day. And I just put some sunrises here for you. I enjoy them when I'm out. Nowadays, the sunrise is a lot later in the morning after 8:15, and I'm in and working already, having walked Georgia. So I just reminded myself by putting a few sunrises in here just for the fun of it. And as always, and in all ways, I share a poem using some of the key words that are in the video. So let me share. Under the new moon, shadows stretch wide, dog walking on a path, kissed by twilight, each rhythmic step naturally being nature at its a quiet symphony unseen. Down fell the night, soft as a whisper, the plants charged with determination, not of otherwise, more of earth itself, a promise of a new day waiting to rise. Each breath held the unspoken truth, a stillness that moves, a balance renewed. If you haven't been with the video series that I produce each month now, this was the original prompt. So again, you can stop, read it, and see if you want to participate by putting something into the comments section or shooting a video, putting it on your channel, providing the link. I would enjoy seeing what you've come up with. So I leave it with you. As we move forward, you probably noticed the subscribe and comment prompts that were popping up. And I would encourage you to watch lots of the channel videos. There are other nature walks. So, with that, take care.